Okay, perfect. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining our show today. It's Brittany Daly, Rosie, and Roger Hayer. Thank you. Glad to be here.
I love it. I think the first few minutes are like the funniest part.
Hmm.
No, just kidding. It's the
I
last few
can hear you
minutes.
So, in
also.
an
Keep
age of,
You can't hear us?
what's that?
Rosie can't hear us.
but keep going.
But keep
But keep
going.
going.
Okay, all right.
We can.
So, guys, we have a really exciting show for you today, and you're probably wondering who's this show for. This show is for anyone and everyone looking to buy real estate, whether you're looking to buy your personal residence, buying a second home, investment property, whatever the case may be. If you're dealing with real estate, this show is for you. So, we'll talk about the Golden Triangle and all of the I guess all the things that impact real estate values in your decision on buying or selling real estate. So, and this show is also for other professionals in lending, title, even other agents, because at the end of the day, we co-create this experience together. And so we're happy to be here. And we have a really exciting show for you today.
Yeah, we do.
So, Bree, we want to tell everybody where we were today and maybe the information. Maybe give everybody a chance to get in real quick.
Yeah. Want to give everyone a chance to get in, or let's go?
Before we let's give everybody a chance to get here. But I also want to ask you a question, Bree. I know I like to ask this question because we're boots on the ground and we like to know what's going on in the marketplace. Is there a trend of things that you may be seeing in the marketplace right now? Anything that you may be experiencing that our viewers would appreciate knowing about?
In the past couple of weeks, I have been seeing more buyers coming to the market, and I
Hmm.
have started to see properties move a little bit quicker than what we had been seeing in the past. Um,
Okay.
as far as homes coming on the market, I haven't seen anything too crazy, except for the fact that I am seeing a decline in the number of homes. When I'm pulling my properties every single week, I'm seeing a decline in multifamily. And I'm starting to see a decline when I'm looking at single family. I'm looking at properties that have been on the market for over 30 days. I'm seeing a decline in those numbers. So I don't have as much data because they're selling. They're starting to
Right,
sell.
right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about our show is that while everybody's waiting 90 days to get yesterday's data, we're getting to see what's happening boots on the ground right now.
Yeah.
And so you're saying that you're seeing fewer days on the market, and also you're not seeing a rush of inventory come online.
No,
Okay.
especially not in MFU.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, one of the trends that Rosie and I discussed earlier this week was we were discussing the trends in real estate and how everything kind of pauses for a second and then ramps up towards the end of the year. So I think it's a lot of people, and it just feels weird saying this, but I really honestly believe it's still, if we had to attribute it to something, I feel like people need a home for the holidays, or they want to settle in before the start of the new year.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a tradition that is still showing through on the numbers and the charts.
I think a lot of people also are wanting to get in before there is another decrease in interest rates,
Okay.
because if they're going to decrease, prices are going to go up. So you still have room for negotiations right now.
Yeah, yeah. And I know we talked about a lot about that last week too, where we're talking about interest rates impacting prices and the amount of inventory hitting the market. And the more I research it, I can't help but make the correlation that a lot of the real estate that I feel like we saw a period of inactivity, or we saw people like maybe not coming onto the market. And I honestly feel like that was because of the anticipation of interest rates lowering. But now, since that's kind of up in the air, if jobs keep coming in strong, well, will the interest rates be lowered? And if they're lowered, then will it be significant enough to wait another year to own a home? And so, like, I really like to talk about this because I think that's the micro decisions that each household is dealing with are influencing the overall market. And so these buying decisions that people are making are really influencing how people make decisions in the prices of overall real estate.
Yeah. And I am seeing some.
And
Uh-oh, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, there was a little delay. I am starting to see, not necessarily for us, but I've been talking to a few other agents. I'm seeing some people are taking a little bit longer to make a decision. So things aren't necessarily, I'm not saying they're flying off of the shelf, right? Like you're not having multiple offers and 3 days, 7 days. The days on market are still a little bit higher, but things are starting to move a lot quicker than they had been in the past 6 months. And buyers,
Yeah.
because they have a lot of options right now, they are truly shopping around and looking at the opportunities.
Yeah, I think August and September are the numbers where we're going to always experience a relative slowdown from if we compare August to May or April, March, April, like springtime.
Yeah.
That's not a valid comparison.
Yeah.
March and August are completely two different months.
Yeah.
And so we need to look at that seasonality and how it impacts real estate. But I think one thing that we might see going into the new year is people really making a lot of noise about any kind of seasonality slowdown. I think it's to be hyped up quite a bit because everybody's looking at the market really carefully and at the tip of their nose. So I think that it's even more important now to look at the numbers than ever before. So on our next market update, I think we'll delve into the numbers and for the viewer's sake, because I'm sure everybody wants to know what's going on.
I'm interested to see what the fourth quarter will bring because typically we have pretty high numbers in the fourth quarter, but I would attribute that to being investment mindset. And a lot of investors come out during the fourth quarter.
It's so funny that you say that because I was looking at the number of institutional buyers in the marketplace that are in 2021. There's a report saying that 28% of buyers were institutional buyers. That just means they were investors, right? So whether they're buying, that was an LLC purchasing a home. Now, whether they own 1 or 2 or 5 or 10, it really shows that, in a low interest rate environment, it's natural for people to make investments in real estate. And so as those numbers come down, I'd like to see how investors get back in the game.
Yeah.
And they will. I think they still are because there's been a major correction in prices and everything else. That's always going to serve as an incentive. And I think in the long-term horizon of things, people buying now are going to look back and say they made the right decision. I think so.
I agree.
Believe it. Yeah, because I like to, I myself, I'm very bullish on what the market's going to do in the long run. And so I'd like to see how it plays out. Well, cool. I guess we can talk about our little trip to Georgetown today and what the Georgetown city officials had to share with us about growth in Georgetown. And so, guys, I want to thank Bree because she brought it to my attention. Bree was just like basically the mayor and an economic development person and just a few people getting together and a commercial real estate investor that was there, and they were talking about the market, right?
Yeah. So it was the Georgetown mayor, someone who worked in economic development, and then it was a commercial investor, and they build a lot of like the little market centers, like the one on Bar W right here on 29 on Ronald Reagan. They did the one on Whitestone and Parmer, and then they even did. Remember, Roger? I don't know if you remember. They did the very first Central Market.
Yes,
Austin.
that's a big deal.
So they've been around for a long time.
Have you been to that Central Market?
Not in a long time, but yeah, a long time ago.
Oh my gosh, they have the best groceries. Anything from their produce. They have like 10 different kinds of pears in their produce. They have prepared meats. In the meat market. You know, seafood. It's pretty wild to see their operations. They have fresh. Bake fresh bread, and you can see the guy pulling the bread out of the oven. It's really neat to take a look at that. And I think they even developed the hospital that's next door, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think that's what they were talking about today.
Yeah, so they've done some mixed use development.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that he said, it's his name is Milo Burdett, and he's a partner and VP of development at the. And I'm going to mess this up, but it's Bar Shop and all his company.
Yeah,
I was like, "What'd you say?" And
it was hard to hear.
that lady was like, "Yeah, no, you could just read it off of here," because she knew there was no way I was going to guess what he was saying. And now that now after reading it, I was like, okay, no wonder she did.
Yeah. You're like, now I understand.
Now I understand, yeah. And so something he said really caught my ear, really caught my attention. And he was talking about development along 183 and how they're really like, optimistic about the growth along 183.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the ones that actually, I guess, put the shopping center and develop the shopping center and lease back to HEB.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the questions I asked was, well, what about the Manor HEB? Is that something that you guys are developing for them? And he said, no, that's one that they bought out directly and are building themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty, I don't know what to call it, but hearing about these companies that are really eager to put more, to turn over more dirt and build these types of things is it makes me optimistic about the real estate market overall.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everything that we got to see from today, so much growth, so many different things that are happening. Like, it's not slowing down. For anyone who thinks it's slowing down, especially in that Georgetown or Williamson County area, it's not. It's only getting more populated, more things are coming. And what did they mention? I know we're kind of jumping ahead because we're talking about him, but didn't he say something like the one on Bar W right here off of 29 on Ronald Reagan? That HEB said we opened up 2 to 3 years too late.
Yeah. Wow.
We should have opened up sooner.
Yeah.
What Beth said.
We rock here in Georgetown. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. I was really moved by how much, how much Georgetown influences their own utilities. But before we get into that, I did want to say that Georgetown is anticipating that the population of Georgetown will reach 100,000 people in the matter of in a few weeks. We'll have hit the 100,000 mark. And why that was important was because it's going to attract a new set of retailers, new restaurants. A lot of restaurants won't even look at a city under a certain population, under 100,000 people. They're just not looking to move there. Yeah. And so I think with the population reaching 100,000, that's one thing that they really harped on was the new set of retailers, the new restaurants, the new lifestyle, options for people that are going to be moving in.
Yeah. And just to kind of take a step back, so this, where we were at, it was basically showcasing a newer area to Georgetown, a newer neighborhood in Georgetown. And they had those people there so that we can understand why this newer neighborhood is coming up, where the growth is, where the potential is, and why it's great to be in Georgetown or invest in Georgetown. And the mayor had said something, and I feel like we've said this before, but he confirmed it. Georgetown has been the fastest growing city the past 3 years in the United States for over 50,000. He did say that they dropped a little bit because some people were included for cities that were 20,000 or more.
Yeah.
But if it was over 50,000, Georgetown has been number one for the past 3 years. And Yeah, they're working on
Yeah,
a lot.
and they expressed I guess that may be a good thing, but it comes with a lot of challenges being number one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they talked about a road bond project that they're working on to help traffic. I think they were also talking about, at Wolf Ranch, there's a lot of traffic always trying to get from the east to the west, crossing 35,
mhm,
because that's where a lot of the commercial is. And
mhm.
so what they're working towards doing is bringing more commercial, bringing more entertainment and food and shopping on the west side, and obviously doing some other projects in terms of helping fight traffic. So where it's not so congested off of 29 and 35 which is what we see now.
And they said that would relieve a lot of the congestion that's happening off of Williams Drive.
Yeah.
And so, which is interesting because there's some property that we're looking to acquire that's around Williams Drive, and it's like, okay, well, how are future changes going to impact that area, and are we going to see a little pullback, maybe more of those people heading west? And so, I mean, obviously, for in the long run, Williams Drive will always be Williams Drive,
Yeah.
but it kind of causes us to wonder, like, how these migration patterns will impact purchasing decisions. So it's a really big deal.
Yeah.
And so,
I think we
very
need to
cool.
talk about the water.
Yeah, yeah, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
So I bet you wrote down the numbers for what that looks like.
Yeah. So currently, Georgetown services a 400 square foot mile water service territory. Okay. So it's not just Georgetown proper. Like they extend to Liberty, some parts of Liberty Hill, up to Bell County and Florence. Um,
Yeah,
and
400 square miles, right?
400 square miles.
Yeah,
That's crazy, right?
heading into some of East Texas, and that's a pretty big territory.
Yeah.
I wonder how they work that in to include that space, but they have it, so that's good.
Yeah. And so I guess they had finished the North Lake and East Lake water treatment plants, but
Mhm.
South Lake water treatment plant they're currently working on, hoping to be done within the next year. They didn't really know when, but they said once it's finished, they will have doubled the amount of treated water for Georgetown.
Yeah,
Doubled. That's
doubled, yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
And just to give everyone an idea of how significant this is, they said they'll have secured their water source that will last them the next 100 years.
Yeah, that's if they were going to seek raw water surfaces from East Texas.
Oh, they're still looking to secure those?
Once they secure those from East Texas and they bring them here, that's when we'll have enough water for the next 100 years.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
which is insane.
Yeah,
100
seems like
years, that's a long
forever.
time.
Yeah, so our kids are good. Our kids
Grandkids
have
good,
water.
you know.
Yeah, hopefully some of this technology that they always talk about, how they can convert air into water, by then we'll have,
Plenty
I
of
guess,
water.
what? Yeah, yeah,
Everyone needs
yeah,
water.
exactly.
We
I
can't
know it's
survive
really
without
controversial. Huh?
So we can't survive without water. We need water.
Exactly. And they said a lot of these communities that are looking to be built, one of the things that will be something of the past is these big golf course, these big green spaces, and a lot of watering the lawns and all of
Yeah.
that, and which I'm really excited about because I think one of the things that I just it doesn't compute with me when we have a shortage on water. Why is everybody watering their yards? And then why are these big subdivisions having all this landscaping being watered? Makes absolutely no sense. So if they could plant more native plants, more cactus and more that sort of thing, I think it'd be good for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they said moving forward. A lot of them will
Let's
look
use
at.
that water for something else.
Yeah, I know. I really liked how they were taking initiative and thinking about the future, and they had actionable plans that they were actively working on to combat this issue, which I thought was pretty admirable.
Yeah, and you know what I really do also like about Georgetown is that they own their own water treatment plants. Like
Yeah,
this is something that they haven't outsourced to someone else, and then they also own their own electricity,
electric. Yeah,
right?
that was a
And
big deal.
yeah, and that's very encouraging. And so, Bree, just and then I think that's what the mayor had to talk
Yeah,
about.
that's what
And
Mayor
then
had.
we had our next speaker, which was a real young guy, Georgetown Economic Development Board, Cameron Goodman.
Yeah,
And Cameron had a lot of good things to say about. He said basically what we've been hearing a lot about, and I guess we mention these names so much. I guess sometimes we get kind of numb to it, but Samsung and Tesla and the industries that they're spawning are really impacting our real estate market.
yeah,
And so many suppliers for Tesla and Samsung, 150 companies are headed here.
yeah. I thought that was
And
big. I think isn't that what was his name? Dave
yeah,
Porter.
David Porter, yeah.
Yeah, he had kind of mentioned that, but it was nice to hear it again.
Yeah. I think someone asked a question which I was really inspired by was they said, well, how is Georgetown capitalizing on some of that? And the gentleman said, well, and they said, well, are you going, we know Taylor's making trips to Korea. Are you guys doing the same thing? And he said, absolutely. We just got back a week and a half ago.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they just got back.
that's very exciting that they're actually not, sitting on the sidelines. And that's the thing about, I think Texas overall, one of the things that I think is very commendable is how all of all of the other surrounding areas come together whenever there's a conversation like this, and they all want to be a part of it. So even in past, historical events, the different cities, including the cities in the Golden Triangle, will come together to go fight for something big. You
Yeah,
know, it's a all for one kind of thing, which really is inspiring.
yeah.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
well, they talked about bringing in, high quality jobs. Like they talked about, yes, they're manufacturing, but it was like things like AI, electrical charging things for Tesla, or like automotive things, or different things for data centers.
Yeah,
And
advanced skill manufacturing.
yeah, and he said, these people are making 85 to $100,000 a year jobs. They're not, it's not on the lower end of the spectrum. Like these are good quality jobs that they're bringing
Yeah,
in.
and I remember Beth brought this up before, and it's been something kind of always on the back of my mind since she mentioned it. But it's what about talent development, and how are we going to develop the talent that's needed for these jobs? And so we are hearing that there's some initiatives, the PTech program,
Yeah, P-Tech.
where they actually buy the equipment, set it up for them, and teach them how to use it.
Yeah, and then that way they can graduate and have a job after graduation with it. And you know what's really cool?
That's a big deal.
It's Mr. Padaville that I think I don't know what he does now, but Devin Padaville, he used to be uh, a principal at my school growing up.
Interesting. And
Yeah.
he's one of the guys heading the programs over there.
Yeah, and he does something else. I don't know what he does now, but I think he still is. He's a superintendent. Oh, he's superintendent.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's a pretty big position.
yeah,
Uh, Now they said they are looking at bringing other businesses here from Korea, such as cosmetics and healthcare companies.
yeah,
So not just automotive, not just chips manufacturing,
yeah,
but other industries as well. And that's very exciting. But also, their goal is to bring several employers that are at least employing 500 or more people a year, right? So substantial employment
hmm.
centers, and so that's really exciting.
What was cool about the Korean cosmetic companies? That's really blowing up right now. I mean, everywhere you go on
Oh,
TikTok, everyone is talking about Korean cosmetics.
Interesting. I didn't
So
know
for it to be
that. Here locally, yeah.
here locally, I mean, I think that's a pretty big deal, especially with everyone. I mean, everyone's buying the Korean cosmetics right now.
Yeah. And they said one of the reasons why these larger employment companies want to come here is because how quick Georgetown can provide them with power.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they own their own power.
Grid. Yeah.
Yep.
They own their own
Yeah.
power.
That was a big deal. And didn't they mention something about oh, what did they say? Someone asked a question of how are they making sure that like they don't, just stay here for a little while and then move
Right.
and he was talking about how, well, they're spending like 70, 80 million easily um
Yeah.
initially. And so that's a big chunk of change and a lot of the companies are, buying everything outright and not leasing it, like they're owning it, and that gives them
Mhm.
more reason to stay in the community.
Yeah, I think one of the concerns is that are they just planning down here and then taking their services and products somewhere else and selling it, and then we're not getting a cut of it, or how are we getting cut out of the deal? And they ensured that, hey, look, they've made big capital expenditures that they're going to want to regain their investment before they do anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, what else do they talk about?
Oh, something exciting I thought was exciting.
Hmm.
The mayor talked about police presence and I guess how to make Georgetown safer. And I guess the reason why that's relevant for me is because safety or some of the safer communities will equate to higher residential real estate prices and ensure, appreciation.
Yeah.
And so I know Austin's dealing. I read an article today where Austin was dealing with some crime, uptick, and now they're gonna get to the drawing table and try to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's natural for a city that's growing too. And maybe they could work on their policies or whatever. But I guess Georgetown, without getting political about anything, because you guys, we don't really care about that stuff. We care about real estate values. So you won't hear us talk about religion or politics a whole lot here. But just the way that I guess the culture around Georgetown is different than Austin, right? They're more pro police or more pro household safety, that sort of thing. And so the number one thing that we're seeing Georgetown spend their money on is police force.
Mhm.
They said that was the number one line item.
Police force and fire.
Yeah, and sometimes those two kind of interchange,
Yeah. Yeah. And then
which is
he
great.
mentioned them potentially moving the
Yes.
because the
Yeah.
currently downtown on their beautiful, near their beautiful square.
Yeah, 15 acres of downtown Georgetown is occupied by the police station.
Yeah.
And so like what they say, someone could get arrested in Hutto and be released in downtown Georgetown. And so now at the current time, they're looking at relocating the downtown Georgetown Police Department.
Yeah.
And fire, I guess fire is another one of those things that's really good that they're spending that money on there because, in those seasons where we're getting less than desired rainfall, we saw what happened in Bastrop 10, 12 years, 15 years. I don't know how long it's been now. But if we can, isolate or kind of insulate ourselves to those sort of happenings, it's only better for everybody else.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So, but that's that
Wait,
for
one more.
what was it?
They're building another HEB is coming,
Oh, yes.
and it's going to be kind of off of, again, Ronald Reagan, right? So a little bit further down Ronald Reagan because they're building more neighborhoods out there and they don't want to be 2 to 3 years behind. They want to get a little bit ahead of it. So that it's called Palmer Ranch HEB Anchor Center. Mid to late summer of next year, it's going to open. And yeah, they're going to have service, food and beverage, shopping, all the things.
I don't think we're going to be able to recognize Ronald Reagan in a few years. Anyone that hasn't been out there in a few years isn't going to recognize it.
Even, I mean, I remember when I bought my house, it was in 2018. Ronald Reagan was still like, you definitely saw the difference between Palmer, because Palmer turns into Ronald Reagan. And you could see the difference. Like, this is Palmer and Ronald Reagan, and like, it was a lot more rural and everything. And now, like, there's so many, like, there's lights and there's commercial and there's homes and there's things to do and there's schools everywhere. Like, it's completely different.
Yeah.
And I think that we're just going to continue to see that.
Well, one of the things I got to crack on, and I just thought it was funny more than anything else, when the mayor of Georgetown said, "We are not going to let Georgetown turn into Austin," everybody broke out in a clap. Yeah, I was like, guys, I like all real estate.
That was funny. Oh, yeah. One more thing he said that I mean, I've obviously driven by Tesla plenty of times, but I had a client who just closed on a house on Monday. So he works at Tesla and he doesn't have to be at work until 6 a.m. Okay. But he gets there at 4 a.m. because if he doesn't, he'll have to walk over a mile, or they have a shuttle that takes you where you need to go. But he said, if you barely miss the shuttle, sometimes you're waiting for the shuttle for like 30, 40 minutes for the shuttle. And then they said something interesting. They said that Tesla, it's 10 million square feet. That's 100 HEBs.
Wow.
100 HEBs. It's huge. I mean, I drive by, quite frequently. It does look like its own city almost. It's really crazy.
Yeah. I like how I used to be able to get close to Tesla. And now they own the 3 roads that lead up to it, and there's no getting close to it anymore.
Nope. But
that's cool. I think we're going to see a lot, guys. You're going to see a lot of mixed news out there. You're going to see this is doing great, and then that's not doing great. And the more you dig and stuff, and that's what I've been doing, looking at different sectors and stuff, and I'm just getting a lot of mixed news. So I would say just stay tapped in here, and we'll bring the latest and greatest. We're looking at industrial, retail, multifamily, and why do we talk about all of these things, and what difference does it make if a HEB is building in a neighborhood? I think it just means that get ready for appreciation. Anytime there's new amenities being added to an area, it's a big deal. That's when real estate values go up. And so that's why we want to always bring that to you. Please. There's like so much angst in me, until that happens, because I'm like, I don't want to look like a fool with my thumb out.
That's funny.
And as much as Rosie wanted to be here today, guys, sorry she couldn't be here. But she's definitely with us here in spirit.
That doesn't sound great.
This is great. Is that what you said?
That does not sound great. She's with us in spirit.
Oh, that she's here with us in spirit?
Like, it sounds like something happened. She was here. No. Internet is being internet. Okay, guys? Yeah. And we're fixing it. So that way she will be here.
We're going to get on Google. They've been messing with these fiber optics out here, and I think that kind of just thrown everything off. They're laying new fiber optic cables, and then something happens, and next thing you know, it doesn't work anymore. But Bree, we've been talking about real estate, the up and coming, the breaking news these last several weeks, and we've been talking about the market and the numbers and everything else. I think we're going into the holidays, so we're not going to see anything crazy happen. I say, stay tuned in, and I'm anticipating a good, nice, strong year next year. Now Deloitte, and there's been an article released. I'm not able to share it with you here, but a lot of there was, I think, roughly 800 or 900 CEOs that were surveyed, and the idea that everybody has about next year's real estate market is that, or just industry in general, is that we're turning a corner in 2025, and so. Economic recoveries do take time, and they did have interest rates elevated for a very long time. And so now we're going to get to see the reversing of those effects, but it's not going to happen overnight. So I would say this to anybody listening right now, in the next, the next 8 to 10 months is really a time to double down, look at property, secure what you probably find a lot. I'm definitely sure that you could find a lot of good value, a lot of good properties on the market, on the MLS. And so while you are out looking for properties to add to your portfolio, and maybe you're buying some that haven't hit the market, definitely look at properties that are on the market as well, because that's the easiest way to scale up your real estate portfolio.
Yeah. And guys, I see a lot of really good opportunities in this week's investment sheet. So please check it out. And if you have questions, let me know. But I'm telling you guys, with these MFUs, look at the multifamily, call me, because I have a feeling we're not going to see these kind of deals in the near future.
Yeah.
I'm already seeing them go away. Away.
And guys, so we are looking at securing a bus tour, a home tour. And so far, the only thing I could really get is a party bus. And so, and it's got a stripper pole in the middle of it, right? So I think it's fun, but we can have a dance off. But no, really, I'll keep it clean. We'll keep the jokes clean here. Yeah, Beth said shucks. We want to be classy about things. But we reached out to a few charter bus services, and it just seems like they're in high demand. People are visiting the city, and they're booked up. So we don't want to have a reason not to do this. And on top of that, I really think a party bus is not a bad idea, because it's the one kind of configuration where we all get to sit with one another versus sit in rows. Yeah. Something about sitting in rows doesn't seem that exciting to me.
Yeah. What did John say? We could do it.
Everyone could just drive their own cars. Yeah. Well, the only problem with that, we feel like, is we don't want 20 cars parked in front of someone's house and cause like a whole lot of problems for people. So that's the only reason why. No doubt. Now, there will be a small fee associated, but we're not looking to make any money off of this. It'll just be offloaded, and it won't be much. So I think it'll be all right. It's the only way for us to roll up in front of a house with 20 cars. I think that's the only problem. Yeah. So we will explore those workarounds and see what we can come up with. But Bree, do you want to talk about Coffee Social tomorrow?
Yeah. Coffee Social is tomorrow, and it's 9:30 to 11 at Pineview Coffee, our spot. What'd Beth say? Party bus gives opportunity to discuss projects in between.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to do it like this.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And we have some really exciting stuff for Coffee Social tomorrow, so don't miss it.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I just can't wait.
I want to talk a lot more since she wasn't able to be here today.
Yeah.
Because she had stuff to say. She wanted to say things.
She was really bummed when she couldn't be on here. But yeah, so get ready for that. And man, the stuff she shares is so high value. My gosh.
Yeah.
I don't think I can find it anywhere else,
No.
It's really
life-changing. Every time, like, oh my gosh, this was so good. And try to memorize it.
I just imagine sometimes who would I be if I didn't get to learn all the things that she shares. It's amazing. So anything else, Bree?
I'm good.
Yeah, cool. So we'll share a lot more tomorrow. Anything that we didn't cover today will be covered tomorrow. And we look forward to seeing you guys there.
Yay.
Have a beautiful week.
Bye, everyone. Love you.
Take care.